A bag without a logo can cost anywhere from $3,000 to over $30,000. No monogram, no emblem, no inscription to signify its value. Yet, when people see those meticulously woven leather strips, they instantly know it is Bottega Veneta. This is one of the very few brands in the world that can sell handbags at five-figure prices without any external branding. While other brands rely on instantly recognizable imagery like Chanel Double C or Louis Vuitton monogram, Bottega Veneta uses technique as its identity. The weaving technique itself becomes the logo. That philosophy is why Bottega Veneta is considered the king of understated luxury. You will find these bags used by Kendall Jenner, Hailey Bieber, Michelle Yeoh, and Jacob Elordi, not as a form of advertising, but as a natural part of their personal style. You will easily spot them in first-class airport lounges, exclusive clubs, and luxury hotels from New York to Milan, places where status speaks for itself. And in 2021, at the height of its popularity, Bottega Veneta shocked the entire fashion industry by deleting all of its social media accounts. No Instagram, no Twitter, no Facebook. In a world addicted to presence, Bottega chose to disappear. Without social media promotion, the brand handbags remain incredibly expensive and sell out quickly. To understand why they are so expensive, we first need to understand who the brand really is. Bottega Veneta is an Italian luxury brand built on a bold idea. When just the first letter of your name is enough. That concise statement encapsulates everything the brand represents. Instead of a logo, initials, or printed symbols, Bottega Veneta has chosen a far more demanding path. The brand's identity is built around the Intrecciato technique, a handcrafted leather weaving technique that acts as a silent signature. When you see the weave, you do not need to see the brand name to know it is Bottega. This philosophy is directly reflected in the brand's pricing. Bottega's most expensive bags are not flashy, ostentatious items, but rather masterpieces showcasing exquisite detail and meticulous craftsmanship. Unique crocodile leather designs range in price from $15,000 to over $35,000. The large Andiamo typically costs between $9,000 and $11,000. The Cabot, an icon of pure craftsmanship, ranges from $9,000 to over $12,000. Oversized styles like the Veneta Maxi usually cost between $6,000 and $9,000. Unlike many other luxury fashion houses, Bottega Veneta does not base its pricing on hype cycles, celebrity-driven demand, or brand recognition. Its pricing is anchored by time, technique, and difficulty. This philosophy did not emerge overnight. It was born at a very specific point in history. Founded in 1966 in Vicenza, Bottega Veneta was not a flashy fashion brand, but rather a humble leather workshop rooted in traditional craftsmanship. At the time, the goal was not to redefine luxury, simply to create high-quality leather goods using readily available tools. In the early years, the artisans lacked industrial machinery capable of stitching thick, stiff leather. Traditional methods were virtually impossible. Faced with this limitation, they improvised. They began cutting the leather into thin strips, softening it, and weaving it entirely by hand on a leather base. This method solved a technical problem, but it also created something entirely new. The woven surface was stronger, more flexible, and had a unique appearance. It distributed tension evenly and became more beautiful over time. What began as a practical, temporary solution gradually evolved into a distinctive hallmark of the entire brand. That technique became known as Intrecciato. It was not a stampable logo, nor was it an emblem you could easily replicate. But it was the language of craftsmanship you could instantly recognize visually and tactily. And it was this unique approach that subsequently sparked one of the biggest debates in the modern luxury industry. Bottega Veneta products are consistently praised for their beauty, uniqueness, and impeccable craftsmanship. Critics and fans alike emphasize the precision of each stitch, the elegance of the silhouettes, and the unmistakable quality of the leather. Many describe the bags as timeless, sophisticated, and flawlessly made, pieces that feel deliberate rather than trend-driven. But there is also a smaller group of dissenting voices. Some argue that while the designs are undeniably elegant, they are not always groundbreaking. Others feel that although the bags clearly carry the Bottega identity, certain models can appear too familiar, even repetitive. For these critics, the brand's disciplined restraint can sometimes edge into predictability, raising an uncomfortable question. Does such subtle evolution truly justify a five-figure price tag? So to move this debate forward, we need to look beyond aesthetics and examine how these bags are actually produced. To understand why Bottega Veneta bags are so expensive, You have to look beyond the surface and into the meticulous craftsmanship behind them. This is not a brand that relies on ornate details or decorative excess. Bottega Veneta begins with an extremely rigorous approach to materials. The brand primarily uses soft lambskin and premium calfskin, selected not only for their luxurious feel, but for how they behave when woven. The leather must be thin enough to be cut into narrow strips, yet strong enough to hold its structure once interlaced. This requirement is critical because many Bottega bags are unlined. That means both the exterior and the interior of the leather must be flawless. Any scars, inconsistencies, or weaknesses that could be hidden behind a lining in other luxury bags are immediately visible here. As a result, the rejection rate is extremely high. Large quantities of leather that would qualify as premium elsewhere are discarded simply because they do not meet Bottega's internal standards. This alone dramatically increases cost before any cutting even begins. Next comes the Intrecciato technique. This is not a machine process. It is a handcrafted skill and, more importantly, it is the structure of the bag itself. Each piece begins with leather cut into strips at millimeter-level precision. Even the smallest variation can ruin the weave. These strips are then woven by hand onto a leather base, one by one, in a process that demands exceptional muscle memory and control. Tension is everything. Too tight, and the leather wrinkles and loses its softness. Too loose, and the bag collapses, losing shape and durability. There is no margin for error. One misaligned strip can destroy hours of work. Unlike machine-made luxury goods, this process cannot be meaningfully scaled. Speed degrades quality, and quality is the entire point. This is why Intrecciato functions as a true symbol of Bottega Veneta. It cannot be convincingly replicated without years of training. To become a leather artisan at Bottega Veneta, craftsmen must complete at least 3 years of training at the brand's own vocational school, the Scuola della Pelletteria in Italy. But not all Bottega Veneta handbags are created equal. Within the brand's universe, there is a clear hierarchy shaped by difficulty, time, and risk. At the very top sits the cabat. Often described as the purest expression of Bottega Veneta, the cabat is entirely hand-woven and finished without a single visible seam. There is no lining, no hidden structure, and absolutely no margin for error. Every leather strip must align perfectly from start to finish. This level of precision requires extreme concentration and skills refined over many years. Only a small group of the brand's most experienced artisans can consistently produce it, which naturally limits output. The scarcity here is not engineered, it is unavoidable. The large andiamo represents a different form of complexity. Its cost is driven by scale and structure. Larger sizes demand far more leather, while the Intrecciato weave must maintain perfect tension across a wider surface. Add metal hardware and internal reinforcement, and the challenge multiplies. In this case, bigger does not mean easier. It means slower production and significantly higher risk. Then come rare leathers such as crocodile. These hides are scarce, tightly regulated, and notoriously difficult to work with. Each skin behaves differently, increasing the chance of waste. Errors are expensive, and only a handful of artisans are qualified to handle them. Production stays low not because of marketing strategy, but because capacity is genuinely limited. All of this explains the price, but it still leaves one question unanswered. Why do these bags dominate real life, especially among the world's most powerful people? Because craftsmanship alone does not create cultural influence, and that is where the rest of the story begins. In real life, Bottega Veneta bags are used by people who already possess social, financial, or cultural capital, and therefore do not need a logo to prove it. Among celebrities, Bottega is favored precisely because it does not feel like an advertisement. When figures such as Kendall Jenner or Michelle Yeoh carry a Bottega bag, it reads as a personal decision, not a paid placement. The bag does not compete with their image, it complements it. For executives and high-level professionals, these bags function as tools rather than statements. Large andiamo or cabat totes are commonly used for meetings, travel, and long workdays. The woven leather is supple yet durable, ideal for carrying laptops and documents, while remaining far more discreet than a highly branded tote from Dior. In luxury travel settings, Bottega bags appear frequently in first-class cabins and private lounges. The soft construction allows the bag to slide easily under a seat, the weave resists wrinkling, and the overall appearance aligns with environments where overt branding feels inappropriate. Within fashion circles, recognition is immediate. The weave, proportions, leather quality, and finishing quietly signal taste and knowledge. These bags are not designed to attract everyone's attention. They are meant for those who know exactly what they are looking at. I realized Bottega Veneta does not simply sell handbags. It sells sophistication, craftsmanship, and a philosophy of understated luxury. Now I understand that the price is not really about the leather alone. It reflects the time invested, the skills refined over years of discipline, and an uncompromising commitment to quiet elegance in a world obsessed with visibility and noise. Thank you for watching the video. If you enjoyed this deep dive into what makes luxury truly valuable, please like the video and subscribe to the channel.